Hello, everybody. Today we are talking about estimating square roots. And I could swear I just had, there it is. I thought I had it up. All right, so estimating square roots. So sometimes we don't have a calculator and we need to know the square root of something or roughly the square root of something. And we can do that through estimation. Super easy. It's me a super quick video. So just take notes on whatever you think is important or you need to remember. Okay, and then you have a couple practice problems to do embedded in this video, and then you're done. So estimation. To estimate the square root of 95, we find the two integers that the square root of 95 falls between. So these are my perfect squares. One's a perfect square because its square root's a whole number. Four is a perfect square because its square root is 2 or a whole number. 9's a perfect square because its square root is 3 or a whole number. But if I wanted to know like the square root of 10, it would be between here and it would not be a whole number because there's not a number times itself that gives me 10. But I know it's somewhere between 9, the square root of 9, and the square root of 16, which means that the square root of 10 is somewhere between 3 and 4. Closer to 3 because 9 is closer to 10 than it is to 16. And that's pretty much all we do. So if I was trying to estimate the square root of 95, the square root of 95 would fall between the square root of 81 and the square root of 100. So the square root of 95 falls between 9 and 10. Okay, so I know that's my estimation between 9 and 10. If I had to pick one number, well, it is closer to 100 than it is to 81. So I would say it's about 100. Okay, and that's basically it. So let's take a look. Okay, so 46. Well, I know that 7 times 7 is 49, so the square root of 49 would be on the high side, and the square root of 36 would be on the low side. So I'm somewhere between 6 and 7. Okay, the square root of 15, well, I know a perfect square 16 is above it. That's the square root of 4. So if that's the square root of 4, then this must mean that the square root of 9 or 3 is on the other side. This one I have the negative hanging out front. I'm just going to pretend that it's not there. So let's see. I know that 8 squared is 64. 9 squared is 81. So I'm somewhere between 60, square root of 64, and the square root of 81, which is between 8 and 9. Okay, so down here, when they ask me to go to the nearest integer, that's where I will choose whichever integer is closer. Oh, we didn't practice. Oh, and these would be negatives. My goodness. So number 3, those would be -8 and -9. So let's have you guys try number 6. Between what two integers does the square root of 50 fall? Well, hopefully you knew that it's between 7 and 8 because it's between the square root of 49 and the square root of 64. All right, same process down here. Let's say you're doing the square root of 6. Well, you know it's somewhere between 2 and 3 because it's between the square root of 4 and the square root of 9. So somewhere between 2 and 3. So is it closer to the square root of 4 or the square root of 9? Well, 6 is closer to 4 than it is to 9. So the square root of 6 is about 2. You guys try number 8. So the square root of 18 is between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. The square root of 18 is closer to the square root of 16 and therefore is closer to the answer of 4. That's it. That's how we estimate. So that's it for today. Tomorrow you have a little game to play. Click on the link that's in the plan for the week. And that's it. Play the game for a few minutes, like 3 or 5 minutes, and then you're done. And we'll see you at the Google Meet on Friday. All right. Have a good night.